So we got a brand new chapter for this incredible manga. So first of all, before we start, I just want to kind of like start off saying there are a lot of people that say that this chapter is missing pages. Well, I saw in the comments of the Manga Plus app, and I don't know if this is true because I don't feel like it's missing any pages, and I've read this chapter in like other, like on other places I've tried to investigate, but I haven't found anyone saying that it has, like missing pages. It's been like the exact amount of pages, and there's 21 pages in it, so I don't think it's missing pages. That's kind of like the median for weekly chapter releases. Maybe I read this manga later because, again, I read this chapter like an hour after it was released on the app. So maybe by the time I read it, which is like 1 hour and a half later, it was fixed. But yeah, if anyone read this manga early, or just if anyone reads this manga, can you guys leave me a comment explaining why people are saying that it's missing pages? Because apparently it hasn't just happened this one time; it's happened more than once. Because people have been saying this manga is missing chapters, like pages again. So yeah, if anyone can like confirm that, that would be really, really good. Anyway, we continue with the fight between Julian and Argos, and I really like the world building that's happening, and like the just expansion of the abilities that's happening here, because this guy is kind of like deducing that Julian is kind of probably immortal, and he deduced obviously that when Julian came back to life, when he resurrected, all of his wounds were healed. So he told him that killing him would probably not be the way to go, because he's basically like immortal, and every time he comes back to life, he just is brand new. So he deduces that the best thing to do is just cut off his limbs, seal off his wounds, so that he's not able to move, and just keep him as like a little bit of a sack, right? Just like a big bag. So that's what he decides he's gonna do. And I like that Julian is keeping up, and again, I like that they are different abilities, but they're using the abilities much differently, because Julian was given power by like a sea creature, so he controls, I want to imagine, sea creatures, but he doesn't actually control sea creatures, because they did want to kill him, or like I think it was like the baby. I don't know what they wanted to do. I gotta reread the second chapter. But yeah, I guess like the sea is Julian's domain, because he did kind of scare them off in a way. So they're entering Julian's domain because he was given power by like this octopus type of creature. And that forest creature said that he's given the power of like seas. So it would be pretty cool to unravel another type of ability from Julian, because he has like this octopus ability, because he releases like smoke, like that ink, which is something that Argos isn't able to do. So what I would really like is for this fight to expand more upon that lore and more upon these abilities, and just have different concepts. I guess give different abilities, because I thought that Julian and Argos kind of had like the same concept behind them, but no, this guy controls water, but Julian was given, I don't know, like regenerative ability. I don't know if how much that has to do with like an octopus, right? But octopus can regenerate their limbs. So I'm guessing Julian being able to regenerate his limbs or like his body parts by sacrificing a life. It's a weird fucking thing, right? But Julian has that sort of octopus thing where he can release smoke from him, and by releasing the smoke, he kind of releases any bad substances that he may have. So it's like a really cool concept, because Argos controls water, but Julian was given power by a deep sea creature. So it would be pretty cool for this to like shift, and for Julian to be able to kind of like release his domain expansion and just kind of fuck Argos up with like sea creatures. Again, if that's the case, it would be a pretty cool battle, because they're surrounded by water, which is Argos's, main thing. I'm sorry if you hear dogs barking, they just do not shut up. Like, curiously, when I'm about to record, they just bark, and there's a lot of dogs in my neighborhood. So yeah. And so yeah. So it would be really, really interesting, to kind of see that, because Argos is in his element, which is surrounded by water, but Julian potentially would have control over the sea creatures, which again, I don't see that as a possibility because the sea creatures were the ones that attacked him and wanted to kill him. So yeah, unless Julian can exert his hockey, right, and control the sea creatures to make them fight for him, which, dude, honestly, I don't see. Like I don't see how Julian gets out of this, like alive, because they're in water, so Argos can just control water and just fuck him up, right, and just take him, and like and even if Argos is like shred to pieces, yeah, like he said, he just continue controlling his body just like he would control his blood. Which, by the way, that's very interesting. I like that he doesn't actually regenerate; he just puts his body back together. Like, he can't control severed nerves, but he basically just controls his body through his blood. Again, blood bending. So this motherfucker is in essence kind of immortal in a way, because he can control his body as long as his mind is still intact through his blood. So he's basically not even, I guess he's not controlling his body through his like a regular person, through his brain, sending signals to the rest of his body through like the nervous system. No, instead he's mentally like controlling his body, not even just like subconsciously like most of us. He's doing it consciously because he has to control how the blood moves and just controlling the blood, the water within like the blood. So this motherfucker is basically blood bending himself to move. So that's interesting. But again, he's not immortal per se, because he did tell Julian that he should have just shattered his head. So that's the thing, right? So if you shatter his head, that's GG. So if one of these sea creatures that Julian potentially is able to control, like everyone is saying, then they could just chomp his head and that's it, like GG, right? But I don't think we're going to go through with that. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, honestly, because like, I don't see Julian potentially controlling the deep sea creatures. He might control the Kraken, because there have been many instances where Julian is associated with like octopus or like a type of Kraken. Beautiful paneling, by the way. Like that image where he's like has like a whole octopus. That's really good, right? So yeah, you know what I mean? I'm really interested in finding out what happens the next chapter. I imagine the next chapter will be probably the end of this fight and the conclusion to this mini arc. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool, right? I want to talk about the art as well. The art was absolutely amazing. That double page spread with like the water droplets and stuff, bro, magnificent. The art is very good for this manga, and I hope the author can keep this up without, affecting their health, because it happens a lot with manga artists. I mean, just look at what happened with Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 was doing pretty well, but, due to circumstances that are, well, I don't know, the pacing was start like, the pacing isn't bad. It's just like the consistency of chapters being published is what's kind of affecting the pacing, because I hear a lot of people saying that with Kaiju number 8 the pacing is off and the pacing is absolutely terrible. I think it's good. I think the pacing is great. I think it's pretty normal. The problem is like the publishing rate. Like, it's not published as often as it should be. But again, I don't know what circumstances led to that happening. But I do know that many manga artists suffer from like something when they publish manga. So it's a really bad complicated job, you know what I mean? So yeah, I hope this author can keep it up without affecting health, and because it's a really good manga, and I feel like it could potentially be up there, hopefully, if it gets more traction, if JJK ends. With My Hero Academia ending, I feel like the manga that could potentially take the spotlight could be Sakamoto Days, Dandadan, and like those two. The problem with those two manga is they're very well in after like chapter 100. So unless they go for like 250 chapters, then like these manga won't like be in emission when they reach like their hype. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the thing that could potentially affect these manga. But I feel like if they get good traction, I feel like Kagurabachi. I have not read Kagurabachi. People are saying that it's really good outside of the memes, and I have seen a couple of chapters. I've read a couple of chapters, and the action is actually like the action is really good, and I like the paneling. It has a lot of style. So maybe Kagurabachi, maybe this new manga that's called Hero Organization. The second chapter was like a twist. Centuria seems to be doing pretty good. There's a new manga, Ichi the Witch. I have read only the first chapter, but people are saying that so far it's pretty good. So yeah, there's a bunch of new manga, you know. So hopefully the shonen like these they can get the traction that they deserve, and just more attention. Hopefully the Shonen Jump can give more attention to different manga and not just to like 3. Because as far as this was concerned, it was Black Clover, My Hero Academia, and JJK. But there were other manga like Sakamoto Days that just didn't get as much attention from people. Kaiju Number 8 and Dandadan did get attention, but only from manga readers from Manga Plus. But like outside of that community, not many people, like it wasn't as like popular as maybe those quote unquote big 3, which were My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and JJK. My Hero Academia is over, JJK is over, and Black Clover is now bi-monthly. So that leaves the Shonen Jump in like a tight spot of like having to replace 3 big manga very quickly. Chainsaw Man is doing really good, but it's on Jump Plus, so it's online. So yeah, they really have to, I guess, start doing that. Start giving traction to a bunch of manga so that they can all grow together, so that if one ends, you still have like a bunch other manga behind it. So yeah, anyway, that's just my opinion. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. So bye-bye.